Okay, this is an introduction to the front page of Murmurations, the home page. And of course, click on everything, experiment, find your way around, become familiar with every single link, and see if you can work out how everything is connected. It kind of is, but let's just start with the fact that the title of the journal is also a link back to itself. So if you click on this, it's back at the current issue, and the current issue is always on the front page. This is how it starts. If you go to, you'll see there's a bit of extra text on the end of murmurations.cloud. If I take that away and just enter Murmurations, it drops you back to this page, and that's because it's in the OJS folder, index.php, which is probably some kind of JavaScript, or I don't know what it is, file, /murmurations. It's on the web hosting. You don't need to worry about that. But murmurations.cloud always leads to that file that brings up this page. As you know, underneath this is the bit you're most familiar with, is the current issue. We'll talk more about those another time. And at the end of it, though, you'll notice it says View All Issues. We're going to click on that. And if you look at this bit of the address, you'll see it's the home page /archives. And actually, if we click on this page, this tab, see the various tabs along the top here. If we click on Archives, it should not change things. It might reload up here, but it's the same page. And don't ask me why, but they are not in the numerical order we'd like them to be in. This is some progress, 1.1, 2.1, 3.1 before it was random. But maybe it'll get sorted out at some point. It would be nice if it did, but it's not how it is at the moment. So this is the archives. That's what that button leads for. Current leads to the current page, but without the nice logo. This leads to the home page, and then announcement leads to nothing at the moment, but it's a landing page. These perhaps submissions is perhaps the most important one in terms of it having four different documents or static pages attached to it. The first is guidelines, and it's a political thing. We'll talk more about guidelines another time, to put contributors and reviewers in the same audience together alongside each other, rather than guidelines for one and guidelines for the other. But of course, a lot of the submissions things do refer to contributors, such as the style guide, might need updating in some small ways. Referencing guide, likewise, always worth reviewing, because we've refined some things over the years, changed some things, need to check that it's all up to date. Permissions and copyright, very important information. Again, worth reviewing every now and then, because things change. You know, the law might change. There might be other precedents. The writing project leads to a single page and probably needs updating. And then about lists about the journal and the various teams and contact. We use this one address. It's the only public-facing address outside of Systemic Flux or something like that, because it just simplifies everything, and we can each access editors at and respond from editors at. Sometimes it's better to use that than one's own email address. And of course, there's things like the editorial board. You might want to change the wording there. At some point, I'll show you how to do that in another video. The About the Journal is perhaps one of the most important pages, because it's not just the description of the journal. It actually contains some very important information, which is then easy for you to find rather than dig around for. So I'm scrolling down. It's important to remember to just say these things, because, you know, it is a not-for-profit. It is also, if you look at the very, oops, what's happened there? Jumped. Very first line. This is very important. It is free and fully open access. We aim for 2 years, blah, 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 issues a year with 6 original papers. Anyway, this is a very important opening statement, and actually I think if we click on open access, I don't know if this is up to date, but it might be. We need to check. But there's something there about if people are interested to click on that. But I want to just show you two other things on the about this journal page. Just acknowledging the drawing by Liz, very important. It's an acknowledgement of open journal systems. That if you look down here, when I'm hovering over it, it'll show it leads to open journal systems. But this is part of our academic credibility, that that every journal, every publication is archived with PKP, the Public Knowledge Project. I can't remember what PN stands for, and LOCKSS. I don't remember what that stands for, but each of them will jump through to LOCKSS, and which is for something. We don't know. You can look it up another time. But it's a very important part of digital storage in the world and authorizing. There's our proper name, our full name, with a colon after Murmurations. And these are the two things that are most important, perhaps. I don't know when you'll need them, but certainly the ISSN, the International Something Serial Number, is the unique number for Murmurations. And then this is our own unique DOI number. So our DOIs, as you know, are https:// this number / for example 5.1.2, which would mean volume 5, issue 1, and funnily enough it means paper 1, even though it's number 2, because the editorial is number 1, but it doesn't have a number, it's just a thing. So the editorial for the current issue that we're working on at this point in 2022 is this DOI / 5.1.1 for the editorial, but all the papers, like paper 1, the first paper will be 5.1.2. I'll talk more about that another time. Then, of course, on the front page, you've got all these columns. Down the right-hand side, make a submission, which you've been to before. It has some information. We'll talk about these information blocks another time, because they're all custom blocks and you can change them, but you need to know where to change them. Don't worry about that now. There's a lot of stuff here. There's the Twitter account that Marilena manages for Murmurations J. As you probably know, people don't need to register to read the journal. They register if they want updates or if they're going to submit or become a reviewer. I think that's all to say on this opening page. That's enough for now.